When I was starting, I think I would just like constantly compare myself to others, and I think that like played a role in my headspace of what I'm doing. Is this right? Is this wrong? Should I do that? Should I do this? And so I don't just focusing on what you feel is right with the content you're making on YouTube. I think is really big. And another thing I learned that helped me is you have to take advantage of what is out there. You got to maximize everything that you do and post it everywhere. I even do that at WIP. I got access to the cameras in their studio. So when I do a show, I'm cutting it up, I'm putting it on my Broads Media YouTube, I'm putting it on my Broads Media YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok. I will be everywhere. And I'm going to use my content on any platform ever. And that was definitely something that I learned is it's there. Like these social media platforms are all accessible to everyone. You'd be a fool to not maximize what you're doing.
Kobe Bryant. If you didn't see at the top of the magazine, he was actually supposed to be on the cover, and I ended up bumping him off the cover. And so when I first talked to him, he brought that up, and I didn't know what to say. But he was another guy that was just like, he set his daughters down, and as you know, like there was 4 of them, and he's like, I made my daughters watch every single game, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
A lot of the stuff, and especially the stuff we're doing now, you're documenting what's happening, and you don't get a second take, right? Like reality TV is where it's at now. So in a show like Quarterback, in a show like Hard Knocks, you don't necessarily have control of the environment you're in. You're documenting what's there, and if you miss it, you miss it. It's done. I'm going to the draft in a few weeks, so it's like 5 minutes. We can have a plan. I'm going to say, all right, we're going to have him stand here. The guy's going to hop out of the car, and they're going to say hi, you know. But when that happens, it's going to happen in 5 minutes, and you know they're going to hop out at the wrong spot. Camera's going to be at the wrong place, and you got to roll with it. So something like that, you can have a plan, but have no control.
It was like, you better learn or you better get out, and quickly, at 16 years old, which I think is a good crash course for everyone. Is at times you just kind of have to pretend you got it all figured out for the best and work hard at it. So it was definitely a crash course at first. I think people would pressure me more because of how young I was. I got the Jaguars gig at 22 years old, and I was by far the youngest person in the Jaguars organization, and I felt like I was making more mistakes because I was so young and inexperienced, rather than people looking at me, oh, this is happening because she's a woman. Mm-hmm. I think if you are a constant pro, no one can criticize you, no one can pull the woman card. I mean, I trust my coworkers. If anyone were to pull that card, they would say how hard I've worked. I think when you have total confidence in your prep, like no one can try you because you're a woman or because you're 22. Like if you put in the work, like I dare someone to say, I don't belong because of this. And that's kind of just the mindset I've always had.
The best thing you can be is your true self. I mean, it's the way I am. And Neil can tell you that. And sometimes it's too much. I mean, I'm sure the people that watch me on TV and say, shut the bleep up, you idiot. I get that, and I'm sure some of them are my friends. Whatever you do, be the best version of yourself that you can be. And just yelling and screaming, and sometimes that's what I do. And I try to be mindful of it. But no, usually if you're in a position, especially when you first start out, if you're too over the top, it's better to be too over the top than too under the top. Because if you're over the top, you can always calm that down and put a lid on it. But if you just kind of, and I'm talking with respect to being on the air, if you just kind of low key, it's tough to bring that, not always, but it's tough to bring out the energy sometimes. And the energy.
When I was in college, I only had a few women within our classes. I was actually talking to my professor last week. He's like, 50% of our class is now women. When it was you, it was like you and maybe 2 others, I think, is what we had. So it's great to see that, the diversity is there and women are wanting to be in sports and that they're actually welcomed. I don't have to go into rooms as much anymore, like fearing like, oh, what are people going to think? Oh, this person's opinion doesn't matter. It's everyone is very much welcoming, and you're going to find organizations out there that just want the best minds, and that's cool to see now.
Nelson Cruz, remember when he was with the Mariners, and he was just awesome. And he was called the Boomstick when he was in Texas. So then we get him. He comes to us. So I remembered hearing some calls on radio. Bob Leonard, when Reggie Miller would hit a 3, boom, baby. So I said, ooh. So I went to my sons. I said, he's called the Boomstick. If he hits a home run, boom, stick baby. I'll never forget the 7th inning. Nelly comes up. We're down 7-4, and he gets a pitch away from him and goes with it. Pow! High drive! Deep right center field. Giddy up, baby! Giddy up! Go! Boom! Stick, baby! Home run! Nelson Cruz and the Mariners have tied the game. 7-7 in the seventh. I went nuts.
I know there are times where I'll post something and I'm like, this has 2 days to really be successful, compared to something where it's a little bit more long form, or if I'm doing predictions, I know that's a video that's going to grow over the course of the entire year. Analytics can be really boring and it can be a lot, but they really kind of tell you, the numbers will tell you exactly how your content's performing and exactly what your audience wants to see. And so sometimes it's like you go into content with, this is what I think is going to do good. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. And you'll post it and it'll either do well or it won't. And it's kind of up to your followers and viewers to tell you exactly what they want to see. Your hook of a video, which is the first 3 seconds, is the most important thing. We keep the hooks in that first 3 seconds very similar, just because, especially with the way people scroll on social media now, and to really capture someone's attention and make someone remember you or remember your account, you really want to do something.
People ask me a lot of times about like the plan, like how did I get to where I am, as if it's been a part of a plan. I would say I don't plan, but I'm always prepared, right? And I think we make that mistake a lot, particularly you all, if you think about your potential careers. What the business was 5 years ago is a lot different than what it is today. What it's going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will be unrecognizable compared to what it is today. So don't overplan. Just be super prepared. And then you have to start thinking about, well, what does it mean to be prepared? Do I have good habits? Can I be held accountable, right? Do I honor responsibilities? Or do I just seek out the next opportunity? Like, plan, yeah, that's good, sort of, but the world's going to look a lot different by the time you get there. Or just be prepared.
One of the things I really like to do on the weekends, if I just have some time and I like to drive. And so I'll drive around the region and I'll just take a look at things and see where kids are out playing. I love to go look around at basketball courts and drive around, and so I can see the different basketball courts out there. I was just in Atlantic City with my sister, not gambling, but we were in Atlantic City. And I said, hey, do you mind if we stop? I want to take a look at this Boys and Girls Club out here. And that's how the conversations begin. And then we just continue and keep going, and we see where it's going to end up.